Hello and welcome to the show. Today is another question to answer, and the question today is, where's my notepad? Do I think Michael GAUBANC will be any good at being Prime Minister? An interesting one. Okay. GAUBANC. If you haven't heard of GAUBANC, he's very popular at the minute because he wants to make his own party, he wants to make everything his own. He wants to get rid of education that's pointless, because if you haven't, I'll do another video, but his whole school life was him trying to go against his head teacher constantly. He made students go on strike. He caused like a lot of outrage. He caused loads of problems in his school. The SWAT kids, because you do have SWAT kids in stereotype land, so you've got SWAT kids who were like, you can't do that, don't get us into trouble, And he was like, I'm not getting us into trouble, I'm trying to save the trouble. And he caused one of the biggest walkouts ever in his school. The gist of what happened is there was a massive hall meeting thing, and he stood up in the hall room and said, can I say something to the student body? And the head teacher made the worst mistake of his life and actually let Mike say what he wanted to say, because Mike actually had a book with him, and it was the full human rights, and at the back he'd written his own student human rights, and he read them out in accordance with actual human rights. And I was watching this documentary about how he managed to find all the information. He found not only information from the internet, but from his parents. So, how old is he? He's 19 years old. So he'll be the youngest person running to go into politics. But he wants to stop people from doing what they've done to him in the past. So, I'm not exactly sure of the maths here, but he was in year 9, and he left school in year 9. He left school. And now he's, going towards being a prime minister. So it's like, where's the stuff? Anyway, so the whole thing, what happened in the hall? Had the human rights thing, stood up and made a whole speech. I can't remember the speech, can I? Because it was a documentary reconstruction, but it was a good speech, because he stood up and said, I'm going to walk out this building, I'm going to walk out that door, and no one is going to stop me. No one is going to stop me because of what I've just written out. But if you want to follow me out that door and go to a different school that's going to allow us to do the things we want to do, then we'll do it. And 95% of the school walked out the door. And they just disappeared. 95% of the school walked out the door and never came back. The 5% told their parents. The parents got in contact with the school and wanted to know what was going on. The head teacher got sacked. The deputy head teacher, he took over, and then realised that the council didn't want to even be involved with the school, and the school got shut down. Mike got his high school shut down because they weren't treating his human rights correctly. And of course, over the years, there's been people going, but no one mistreated his human rights. No one disrespected him. No, they didn't. They didn't disrespect. What did they disrespect? His learning. His learning was disrespected. That is why he went against everything. Because he was sitting, it's how it all started. He was sitting in a science room, and he was given a piece of paper about biology. And he said to the teacher, is this relevant? And the teacher turned around and said, well, of course it's relevant. You're learning it in this lesson. And he was like, no, I mean relevant to life. And that's when the teacher, because after that conversation ended, the teacher went and told all the other teachers. And they didn't know what to think of this either, because he's the first kid to ask, why am I in school? Now, obviously over the years there have been people who have asked why they're in school, and they've just had the immediate quick reaction of just going, oh, okay, that's fine, I'll keep going. Mike, on no grounds whatsoever, Mike didn't go for that. Mike wanted to be different, completely outside the box, and he was. He did things completely outside the box. He went into the. I think, as it was in the documentary, he came into school the following day, and he was taken straight into a classroom to be talked to like 3 teachers, because the teachers were concerned. Now, Mike, being really young at this point, right? So, year 9. Year 9, what age would you be in year 9? 14. So 14 years old, confronted by 3 teachers, his immediate reaction was, they're trying to shush me. That was his reaction. Not, oh, they're going to talk to me and tell me everything's going to be fine. They're going to try and shush me. That's exactly what they went and did. They tried to shush him. They tried to tell him that school's important and everything you learn is important there. And when he left the classroom, he walked home. He didn't stay in school for that day. He went home. The next day after that, he came back, and people were like, where did you go yesterday? I went on strike. I went on strike. He told his parents, it's brilliant about his parents, I love his parents, because his parents stood behind him completely. Mike stood in front of 3 teachers, maybe 3 weeks later, and the head teacher was there as well, right? Stood there and said in Greek terms, just to, hang it down in slightest, stood there and said, I know that English is important because I need it. I know that maths is important because I need it. But can you teach me how I'm going to buy a house? Can you teach me how I'm going to drive a car? Can you teach me this? Can you teach me that? Like, things that you learn in adulthood. And they couldn't answer him. Because they're not allowed to. They're not allowed to destroy the mainframe of the system. They're not allowed to. Kids have been doing this for a long, long time, but Mike was the first one to try and completely wipe the system off. Because the system, who made the system? The government. The government controls all the schools. That's where it comes from. But he didn't want that. He wanted the truth. Why are they hiding the truth from him? And that's how it all started. I think his political brain came into being in year 3. I say year 3 because if you go back further enough, you will find a newspaper article about him writing a letter to his head teacher about global warming, because he wrote it. I remember this one as well. He was in an essay class and he was told, you've got to write a little essay thing. And year 3, I think year 3, you're not that old when you're in year 3, right? So he's writing this letter down and he writes it to the head teacher about global warming and is school important, right? The next day, no, actually, it would have been a Friday, so the next week comes by and he goes, so, did you mark our work? Yeah, I did. I marked your letter. It was very good. Oh, did the head teacher like it? What? The head teacher. It was for the head teacher. Well, I can't give it to the head teacher because it's schoolwork. You can't give it to the head teacher because it's schoolwork. Well, why don't you just show him it? I can't show him it because it's schoolwork. Was Mike perturbed by it? No, Mike was not perturbed by it, because what did Mike do? Mike went home and wrote another copy of the letter, put the posting address on it of the school and sent it to the head teacher. The head teacher opened it. The head teacher opened this letter, read it, and then called his parents in to talk to him about this stuff. And I'm like, you could have handled this so much better. Because now Mike is gonna, and of course the rest is history. Because what has he been doing? He's been studying politics at Oxford University. How did he get into Oxford University? Oh yeah, he took a book of human rights with him and managed to get in the system. That's nuts. Okay, so obviously, the question that's on here is, what do I think he'll make a good prime minister? I don't know. I don't know. But maybe he might make a good prime minister. I have to say this because he has got hidden agendas. They've always got hidden agendas, but his hidden agenda, I think the first one he said was something about getting rid of the government itself, which, not a good idea, but at the same time, is a good idea. So, not sure. But, yeah. So I've been, Peter Reviews, I think, with question and answer. And I'll see you guys on the next, review. Yeah, I'll see you guys on the next Peter review. No, that's I can't take that. There. I'll see you guys on the next Peter reviews. Hello, frog. Adios and goodbye.